people, here's another rant for you. We're out here talking about the jobs market, the Fed, and all of this stuff. They're saying when the job market is strong, inflation goes up. Well, you know what? When the job markets were weak, every year inflation was going up. Why? Because of the greedy corporations. It doesn't have to be like that. Our job markets can be able to be strong at this point in time, and inflation doesn't have to go up. The greedy corporations have now gotten to where they're making 70% of a record. They're making record profits. The highest record profit in 70 years. And not 70%, but 51%. How the hell is that when our job market is strong right now and they're raising prices, but when our job market was weak, corporations were raising prices? When is it they stop raising prices? When is it not justified? I mean, for God's sakes, a big pharmaceutical company took and went from having a life-saving medical medication go from 300 to 500. Why? Because he could. These corporations are getting away with this crap. And it's bullshit. It needs to stop. That's where it all begins. When it comes to our economy, it all begins there. The greed of the corporations. Then you can move on to supply chain. And let's face it, the supply chain problem, that isn't Biden, that isn't Zelensky, that isn't Macron. The supply chain problem, you take a look at Russia. They're the biggest exporters of oil. Ukraine is the biggest exporters of grain in the world. The world. Not just their nation. The world. Those two countries are the biggest exports, or one of the biggest exports, of our energy and our food. And Putin is blocking the food from getting out and has control over the energy. You can't make cereal without grains. You can't feed your cows without grains. You can't make bread without grains. You can't make flour without grains. Just about everything we eat, with the exception of your basic vegetables of corn and peas and carrots and lettuce, everything else counts on grain. Your cows, your sheep, and you can't feed your cows without the grain. And if you can't feed the cows without your grain, you can't milk your cows without the grain, because there will be no cows. And they would produce less because they're not healthy. You can't make bread, you can't make pita, you can't even make gravy without your grain. Oh, but you got cornstarch made from corn, which is a grain, but made from corn. Come on, people. Get your heads together. And take a look at what party is trying to lower your prices. I would love to see them try to put a cap on some of these greedy corporations. Fine. If they want to raise prices because we got a better job market and people are getting raises in their income, oh wow, the wages are going up, fine. Then how about how many years did the wages stay stagnant? And these companies were still raising prices because they could get away with it. And the people out here, they're out there, they're complaining about stupid little shit. Little shit. They don't even want to dig into the root of it. Let's complain about the little shit and blame it on the president. Let's not put any blame on the big corporation who's screwing you up your ass. No. Let's put it on the president. Let's complain about our inflation at the low percent it is and not even worry about the fact that, other places are having 90% inflation. I think ours is like 40%. You're a bunch of spoiled little brats who refuse to look past your own wants and needs, and who refuse to look at the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the manipulation by the corporations of our economy. Whether we have record jobs out there, or whether we have the slowest jobs, whether we have a wage increase or whether our wages are stagnant, it doesn't matter. Corporations are out there greedily raising their prices and getting record profits and not giving a shit about the customers, not giving a shit about their workers, because they know you are going to blame it on somebody else other than them. And you will never fight to put a cap on what they're doing. How many of you right now, are sitting there watching this video and going, oh, this girl don't know shit. Oh, this girl is so full of it. Going back to work and getting $15 an hour, when really, to be able to pay your rent, to just basically be able to pay your rent, to be able to have a car, to be able to make it back and forth to work, to be able to feed your children, you need $20 an hour. Okay? How many of you out there are like that? And how many of you are working at some company that packages corn? And you're watching the cost that you have to pay for that corn go up and up and up and up, while your wages stay the same. And they've stayed the same for decades. And because that corn is going up, the guy that rents you that house, guess what? Your rent's going up. Because he's got to pay more to live too. But he's got the advantage. He can get what he needs from you. The corporation is making 1,000% profit. But he wants 2,000%. So he's going to take it out of you. And you're going to keep on working in that corporation, making their product to make them rich. How many years has minimum wage been at $7.25? And you don't get much more than that. And how many years have the cost of what you buy gone up and up and up? You're out there, you're making it. You're out there busting your ass to make that product. While your corporate owner is out there partying on his 5th yacht and taking his 5th year-long vacation. Without you, that corporation has nothing. That rich man is no longer rich. But yet they want to screw you. You know why? Because they know you have to have that job. Regardless of how they treat you, they know you have to have that job to live. But they don't have to pay you a fair wage to help you live. And they don't have to take and give you a fair price on their product. The only thing they have to do is sit back and make as much money as they can, because they know you will just keep on working in their factories and in their corporations and making them rich. And no matter how little they pay you, how little their cost to make that product is, they are going to keep on raising the price and keep on raising the price and keep on raising the price. No, it's not okay to make 100% profit back from one piece of product. No, can't make 200, can't make 1,000. If they could get away with it, they would tell you the only product you can buy is any product they sell, and you got to use their corporation's money. You will have to live in their corporation's housing complex. Oh, sure, it'll have a grocery store, and it'll have a theater, and all that other shit. But when it comes time to go ahead and get paid, they're going to give you company script. And when they do, they're going to take a look and they're going to say, oh, you bought all this stuff from our grocery store, and you did this and you did that. And they're going to say, you know what, we're not going to go by the actual cost of things. We're going to raise it up, so maybe when you're done, you'll be lucky if you have $100 in your pocket every month to spend. Because they'll take the rest of your check away. They'll keep you too poor to go anywhere else. And where do I get that idea? Because they've done it before! You don't think they would bite at the bit to do it again? The only reason why they stopped it is because our government made laws that made it illegal. It was basically forced labor, because they stuck these people in these homes, give them this big dream of all this money they were going to make, to end up just sticking them in a place where they could control their people and make it so that they couldn't afford to find another job. And they will keep on doing that to you. They may not be putting you into corporate homes and making you drive corporate cars and buy your product at stores with corporate money, but they're doing the same thing. They're raising the prices of their products so that landlords have to raise the price of their rent so that you can keep on not being able to afford to go out and find a better job. To force them to treat their workers better. Because they know you care more about those kids you're trying to raise and struggling at doing it than you do about being without a job for one day to go find a better job. And they get away with it because you let them. This crap has got to stop. During a pandemic, corporations shouldn't be making record profits. During a war in a country that provides the world with the most oil, and a country that provides the world with the most grains, excuse me, you shouldn't be blaming the President of your United States of America for that inflation. You want to blame somebody for the inflation in oil and grains and bread and how you feed your cows? Blame Putin! No other leader out there in the world. You can't even blame Kim Jong-un for that. That's all on Putin. And his ridiculous war. And don't give me this crap, but he had a justified reason to start that war with some of you idiots. No, he didn't. He made up an excuse to start that war by calling a little Jewish man, not even a little Jewish man, but a Jewish man, a Nazi. The country that when Hitler started his war, joined Hitler first. Helped with the concentration camps. Was just as bad to the Jewish people as Hitler was. Oh, you don't get told that side of things, do you? Why? Because when Russia seen they were going to lose, that Hitler was losing, they switched sides. That's why. Russia has always been exactly what Hitler was. They just picked sides by who's winning and who's losing. Now Putin's stuck in this war he started. And he can't back out without having egg on his face. Absolutely no way for that man to back out unless somebody strikes him. And he's going to keep on pushing it to force it. That's why he started talking about this nuclear bullshit. Because he wants to drag NATO into it. So he can become the victim. Oh, look at the big bullies. They're picking on me now. Forget about what I did to Ukraine. Forget about the fact that I'm threatening to send out nuclear weapons. Forget about the fact that I'm making it hard for people in places like UK and whatnot to be able to have winter. Forget about the fact that I'm stopping the grain the world needs to feed their cows and their children. No, he will become the victim. Oh, the big bullies are picking on me. You see, this is why I say NATO needs to be taken apart. They struck me and they had no reason. And some of you idiotic fools out there will believe his bullshit. Just the same way as you believe the bullshit that this inflation is our president's fault. But how much you want to bet if this whole shit was going on while Trump was in office, and instead of having Trump kowtow to Putin and allow him to do whatever the frack he wanted, how much you want to bet if this same shit was going on there? Oh, it's not Trump. Can't be true. You're two-faced and hypocritical. You need to take a look at your history. In your history, it's been the Democrats all along who have given you record job creation. It is the Democrats who have lowered the deficit and who has risen the GDP. Who has helped the poor and who has helped the middle class. The Republicans have been more interested in helping the rich and helping themselves and allowing those corporations to screw you because they don't care about you. But you keep on voting. Oh, listen to some of the voters down in Arizona. A Republicanly owned country or state run by a Republican. And they're now out there saying, oh, things need to change, so we're going to vote for the Republican because there's a Democrat in office. And you're Republicans there screwing up your state, but you want to vote in another Republican. Really? Really? You want to vote in another Republican in a Republicanly run state that is having more inflation than all the other states. So now you want to vote in another Republican in Arizona. How does that make sense? How does that make any form of sense? You know the Republican you vote in is going to just do the same thing they're already doing? To make you one of the people with the highest inflation rates in the country of the United States? If you really want to change things up, if you really want to look at that, vote in a Democrat. Things just might get better for you. Don't determine who you're going to vote into your governorship and your Congress in your state by who the president is and what party that president runs on. Because even though the president has some control as to what happens in your states, the majority of the control of your state comes from your governor and your state Congress, not from the national Congress. and the president. The president and the nation's Congress only works on national laws. Your state, its political parties work on your state's laws. And many of those state laws can determine whether or not you're making enough money. Your state laws can determine on what the minimum wage is in your state. Your state laws can determine how much they put a cap on corporations and what businesses come into your state for you to work at. And how much favor those corporations are given over the people who work in them. That's your state. But you want to vote in a Republican because you want to change things up. If you really, really, truly wanted to change things up in Arizona, you would maybe try going Democrat. Just maybe. Maybe try changing up that Republican Party who has been running your state for all this time. Because apparently when the chips are down for the nation, they're really down for you. Some of the poorest states in our nation, in the top 10, hell, in the top 5, are Republican. In fact, most of the poorest states in our nation in the top 5 are Republican. Why is that? You sit there and you believe the Republicans' lies and bullshit, and they get in office and they cater to the frickin' rich, leaving you in the dust, and you turn around and you believe their lies again and you re-elect them. You don't bother to take a look at the bills they're filibustering and how those bills could have helped you. You don't bother to read the bills that they're wanting to pass and how they're going to hurt you and favor corporations. No, can't bother to do that. You're just going to listen to the lies the Republicans are telling you about it. Because that's so much easier for you. Well, you keep on believing those lies. You keep on believing that bullshit. And the day that you get your wish of a majority-run country by the Republicans is the day that you're going to start losing your right to have a say on who runs this country. Because they're not only catering to the corporation, they're chipping away at your voting rights. They're chipping away at your constitutional rights. Because that's the way they want it.